As I said, I was an owner with, gym owner for 4 years with Energie, so I do know what club owners go through and the such like. And what we've done, what I'm looking at here is, as I say, it's a smart CRM. Now, you all use systems. Do you use automated communications to members at the moment? Some yes, I know you guys do. Some do, some don't. CRM is customer relationship management. That's what everyone talks about. But I look at it also as customer retention management, but more importantly, especially this day and age, customer revenue management. Because I think you agree that everyone is looking at increasing the bottom line, and whatever we can do to help as a ClubWise, or indeed any software provider, is very important to you guys. So you use CRM, you use automated communications to members. What we're trying to say is, in this day and age when you've not got so many staff perhaps, when you need to utilize your time, their time, and everyone's time better, is to implement what we call smart CRM, which as I say, I'll explain what that is in a bit more depth in a minute. It's not here to replace staff interaction. I think what I will say to you all is the one-to-ones with your members and staff talking to them is still the best thing, but as I said, when you've got staff, less staff perhaps, or less time for staff, you need to make work smarter. So, smart CRM is basically an automated platform, okay, that is using AI, artificial intelligence, to create more important interactions with your customer. So normal CRM, as I say, will send out the communications, etc., but that's reactive. What we're trying to do with smart CRM is be proactive. So we're looking to look in 4 key areas, which is basically sales, retention, increase in spend, and reducing costs. All of this is building on what you currently put in place, but we create things called personas, etc. And as I say, I'm not technical. Don't know how these guys do it, but we don't actually do it. We will be partnering with a third-party company who are the specialists in this. But what the idea is that we will create these personas. We'll enable you to be more proactive with your members, or the systems to be more proactive with members, as opposed to reacting. In 30 days, when they haven't attended and you send them a non-attenders email, that's probably too late. What we're looking to do is send out an email when the patterns change. So what smart CRM really is, in a nutshell, is targeting the right people with the right interaction at the right time to increase not only the relationship, but retention, and more importantly, revenue. And that is key to all your clubs, I guess, is the revenue side at the moment. And as we know, retention is so much easier than getting new sales through the door. I was speaking to a club, one of our customers this morning, who said they're going to be really focusing on retention because actually they're nearly at full capacity. So their focus is now switching to retention and not to new sales necessarily. They will want them, but they're not so focused on new sales. So if we look at the journey, what we're looking at from the initial point is a lot more predictability about your sales. So when your prospects will interact with you, the system will then pick up their interactions, whether it's through social media, email tagging, and the such like, and then through multiple data points will then create that prospect journey, okay, which is going to be, as it is now for you guys, interaction with email, etc., but also will prompt you to have staff interaction as well. We'll base it on email open rates as well, so that we can send out emails at the correct time when members or prospects are opening their emails. And that's through I'll come on to that in a minute. And then when we move through, we're looking at retention and revenue, and that's the key, as I say. So we'll be looking at creating ideal customer profiles. So your systems will generate what your ideal member looks like. We'll develop individual customer profiles as well. As I say, to be honest with you, this is real, to me, it's like wow, and it won't appeal to everybody. I don't think the small club will necessarily go, yeah, I want that, but this is our thoughts for the future, for next year. Referrals are very important as well. I'm sure you all run referral programs of a sort, but then who are these members likely to refer other members to the club? Through patterns that are they referring or not, and you can then build on that and build the persona around that as well. So it's taking lots of data points and looking at that. And it's looking at just basically their spend as well in the business. So are they spending on secondary items? And again, pinpointing that and creating predetermined content or prompting you to create content to then send to these members. Oh, hang on, what have I done there? Press the wrong button there. Okay. So, in a nutshell, what we're looking to do, as I say, is to reduce your churn, improve your open rates through send time optimization. You send out an email probably through your campaign manager if you're with ClubWise or through MailChimp or whatever. You don't know if it's gone out at the right time or not. So as I say, our dashboard will certainly report back on when these were opened, and you can then amend and send the emails, not necessarily en masse, but to that member at that time, when the system knows from feedback when they open their mails in general. We'll certainly be increasing your sales with targeting prospects and high lifetime value. And as I say, it's all about, we talk about NPS as well. So I don't know if any of you do NPS surveys, but that will be integrated in this as well. So you can start to survey your members and get feedback through that as well. And again, that will all feed back into the system and generate reports for you, which we'll come on to in a second. I'll press the right button this time. So, as I say, this is not in ClubWise at the moment. This is our thoughts for next year, okay? We have a huge amount of data, as do other providers. I'm not just saying ClubWise. We all have lots of member data. And we give this to you in reports, etc., which you go, that's great. That was last month's sales, that was last month's visits. But it doesn't give you the ability to interrogate and say what's going to happen this month so much, and how can I build on what's happened to what's going to happen this month. So this is just a list of things that we've thought that we need to put in place. As I say, we are going to be partnering with a third-party AI company. I can't say who yet because we're in final discussions with it. But basically, it is going to ensure that we can look at things like embellishing our point of sale system and developing that to report better. Reporting is going to be very important. I'm going to come on to reporting in a second. But basically, it's all about creating a great customer flow for you and for members and prospects who can start to build their own journeys through their own fitness journeys as well. There'll be that ability for them to actually, because of their reaction to you, they're kind of building their own journeys as well. So it's becoming much more focused on data, interaction, data points, and so on. This is just an idea, just looking at retention of what we'll be able to give you so we can start to look at lifetime value predictors. Obviously, length of stay prediction as well. That's very important to clubs. I often get asked, how can we talk about length of stay, average length of stay? Well, we can give you that overall picture in ClubWise, no problem at all. But on an individual level, you'll be able to say, well, this member's likely to only stay with us for 3 months. What can we do? And this system will kick in and help you through automation and your interaction to extend that that length of stay. As I say, this is not ClubWise doing this. Okay, I'm going to be honest with you. We're providing the core data, but we're looking to embellish and enhance that data for our customers. And again, I keep going on about revenue optimization. That is key to what you guys are looking to do, and retention is the key part. Again, sales, this is kind of what we provide you a lot of this information already. So our dashboard already shows you the open rates, the sent rates, etc., etc. But as I say, that's reactive. It's not, you can't really do much with that, apart from say, well, he's opened it, I'll give that prospect a call. It's all about if the member interacts through Facebook, through whatever media it might be, is to then feed back and utilize that to then talk to that customer as well. So it's going to be some work involved from you guys as well. It's not all going to be given to you on a platter, I'm sure. So there is going to be interaction, and you guys need to make sure that you're on board with it. But if you're doing the basics already, adding this in will be a very simple process, I think, once it's all in place. But it's all about data insights as well. As I say, what we need to do and are doing is reporting is going to become so much more key to you guys, both reactive and predictive. So I think, we've got a couple of ClubWise customers sitting in the room now. Reporting can be a little bit slow because it's crunching a lot of data. I've already seen what we're doing on reporting now, and it's instantaneous. It is literally, if you run 3 or 4 clubs, you can flip between clubs, get information across all 3 clubs. We have a gentleman from Anytime Fitness here who we look after. He'll be able to look at all his clubs in one go and get data just like that. I say it's not overnight this is going to happen, but this is all part of this project, that it's going to really speed up reporting, because it has to. It has to be there. It has to be clear, concise reporting with the information that you need. So we're looking at all of this side of reporting to make sure that what you get out of the system is beneficial, and what then we layer this smart CRM on top of that, that can then do the grunt work for you as well. And scalability is important as well. You need to be able to scale up not only from a club perspective, but also from a reporting perspective, and increase, what data, whether it's this amount of data or, looking across 5 years worth of data, that can be given to you in a nutshell very, very quickly. I mean, I have seen this in action. It actually is great. I'm going to tell you now. So really, I've really sort of finished what I wanted to say really about smart CRM. As I say, it is different from your standard systems at the moment that you operate. Do they work well for you or not? That's for you to decide. But if nothing else, I just want to take away that it's all about increasing membership sales, reducing churn, increasing secondary spend, and reducing your operating costs. No one likes to reduce operating costs by getting rid of people, but I'm sure you guys, some of you have had to do it. I know clubs have had to do it, but this will help also in boosting back up that cost you've lost will be made up with for here. So just putting this slide back up again, what I would say to you is as and when your provider, be it ClubWise or any of the other guys, talk to you about CRM and the automation of it, your first question shouldn't be, how much does it cost? Because that's actually irrelevant, because this is so important. Your first question should be, how is this going to improve my business, my retention, and my revenue? Because I can bet my bottom dollar that for most of you, putting something like this in place, if 2 members stay a month extra, you've paid for it. And I'm not saying that they're receiving emails and the such like at the right time. There's no point in sending out text to a member who never opens his text. So you don't send text to them. You save yourself costs, but you don't stop. That's not a good means. I'm not saying that is the be-all and end-all. It is that interaction with members. But we know that implementing something like this can see retention rates improve by nigh on 10%, which may not sound a lot, but you only have to do the maths. And I talk to clubs who are selling 150 memberships a month, but are losing 140 memberships a month. Now, if they can contain 14 of those members, which I think is 10%, if they can keep those 14 members, they've more than paid for this, and for the whole year almost, let alone for 1 month. So it really is something that I think clubs need to look at, over and above booking systems, over and above this, over and above point of sale, and all that sort of stuff, which is part and parcel of your software package. This is an investment in the 3 R's. Retention, relationship, and revenue. I don't know if you've got any questions on this or anything about, I'm happy to talk about ClubWise as well, or anything you want, okay? Got a bit of time. As I say, I'm not technical, and I know this sounds a little bit like smoke and mirrors, but if anyone's got any questions, more than happy to try and answer them.
It's not technical, but
Good.
It might be a little bit. What is the connection between social media and the platform? You mentioned social media, so will it pick up that
Yeah.
you're looking at
Yeah, yeah. It's not technical, but I know what you mean. It's basically it's looking at, and we have to. That's why our desired state is still quite a way away of what we need to do. We need to ramp up how we interact with social media, so that we can provide that information back out to our partner company, our AI partner, who can crunch all those figures. They have, I can't remember what the number of data points. It's about 80, 90 data points they look at on a sort of whatever minute per minute. There's no point in looking at 1,000 data points because that's just too much. In fact, I almost heard that we provide more data point capability than a lot of AI companies actually look at. So it just shows the vast amount of information we have about members. But yeah, the interaction it's all about this member, prospect, whoever it is, interacts on social media with us.
If it's someone that might be a prospect that's looking at our page, for example, our Instagram page, will it flag up on your system to say Joe Blogs is...
That's the idea, is what we're trying, what it will do, no, they've got to actually enter the process to talk to ClubWise. You can't talk to ClubWise you've got to be using ClubWise to talk through. So if you're a ClubWise customer, that will work, but if you're not a ClubWise customer, no. Now, you can use AI companies standalone that will do that. Yes, they'll plug into your website and do it, but through ClubWise, what we can provide you with, and we will be doing, I don't know if you saw it in there, and I probably didn't mention it, but during the online process, if a prospect drops out during the online process, we can alert you by creating him as a prospect in your system and say he dropped out at such and such a time, but then and he came through, we try and drag all that data through as well. So yes, but you have to be a ClubWise customer to have the online joining process, obviously. But yeah, I know that AI companies out there will gladly link into your website and give you crunch numbers off that. Yeah. It's all right.
With smart CRM ClubWise, all the systems I've been seeing in the fitness industry bring loads of data in, which is good.
Yeah.
The customers are important. As a business, there's a whole process map on who's responsible to act on all of those actions. So bringing data in, if you've got a little gym and you're one person and you do everything, that's okay. But when you grow, that's not really okay. So none of the systems I'm seeing that are fitness related have a process map within a business within it.
When you say process, are you assigning elements of your business or tasks within
the business? Yeah. So like obviously, if the bigger your business scales, the more departments, more levels you have within it. So if you've got 1 club, 2 clubs, 3 clubs,
Yep.
As you grow, so bringing data in is only the start of any journey. So with this smart CRM, you're going to have slight automations, but it still doesn't tackle that part of it, does it? It still just brings in data.
we can, on a basic level, we can assign certain elements of the business, tasks of the business to be completed by people, if that's what you mean. Or I'm not quite sure when you talk about processes,
Well, customer experience starts obviously up here, and
Yeah.
then you've got come through your early engagement,
Yeah.
entertainment, and then they drop off the bottom. And all of the
You want to put-
systems, they do a lot with data, and they put it in, and then they flag out generic emails or whatever.
Yeah.
Which is good. 'Cause
Ish, but yeah.
But there's much more to a business that come off of those bits of
Yeah.
action. So if someone does respond in a certain way, it needs follow-up from
Right.
someone or the interaction.
But we can assign that to people. So if someone responds to that, or once that interaction goes out, it can be a sign that a specific member of staff, then follows that person up. Now, I don't know, one thing I did in the club, and we advocate within, I don't know if you guys do it, is you actually also have do you have member managers? As in, when your members sign and join the club, are they automatically assigned someone who's on the system as their trainer, member manager, whatever you want to call it, someone responsible for them? Do you have that? Yeah? You do that? Yeah? So that's fully automated for us. But certain aspects of the running of the club, you know, booking classes, you're going to assign obviously trainers to those classes. It's difficult to, we're not obviously a business tool, but we are a business tool, but not you know, running your business, not your running your P&L and all that sort of thing. We're not Sage or anything like that. But we can automate prompts to members of staff, as long as those members of staff then act on those. And that's the biggest issue we find. Clubs come to us and say, it's great you're doing all this, but I don't have the overhead, the bandwidth for my members of staff. A lot of clubs don't run prospecting systems, which to me is crazy. But they don't have a salesman or salespeople in place. But they say, it's great you create all these tasks for us to follow up this prospect, but I don't have the time to follow up the prospect. So that's why we're saying, okay, well you don't have that time, so let's not bombard that prospect, but let's look at the data, let's look at the interactions that have happened in the past with other prospects, and hopefully see what works for this club in the prospecting process and apply it to this prospect. Or he's come in a different way, and this is where the AI part comes in, because all we do is it's a prospect, and he's been on the system for 10 days, 20 days, 30 days. He's been on for 170 days, he ain't a prospect. Forget it. And that's where the AI takes all that past information, somehow jumbles it up and says, this prospect needs to go down this route. So if you don't have a salesperson in place, this is great. But when I hear clubs say, what's a prospect, it does make me shudder, but that's what there are clubs out there that think that and don't know what, you know, selling a process is. I don't know if that answers your question. Probably doesn't, but okay. Anyone got any other thoughts, questions? I mean, I don't know, is this a bridge too far for people, for clubs, do you think, or?
No, I think it's long overdue. I think part of the frustrations over the years is getting the right information.
Yeah.
You know, to be able to do the right promotions or the right communications.
Yeah.
And also, as a business owner, and you'll probably know from the relate, it's just like getting the right information out. Where is the business?
Yeah.
At this moment in time. So it's not, you know, from the experience that I've had, you're a company that's growing with us. I think it's two ways.
It is.
And it's interesting at the moment. My biggest thing is I mean, we take the system as when the client is already now signed up with us. What we've found a shortfall is that prospect management system, which is something that we have been looking as an alternative to add on. Now, you're telling us that this, with the artificial intelligence, which sounds fantastic and it's not overdue now, what's the sort of timescale? Does that allow it to be a better prospect management system, not just a customer relationship management with an existing member?
Hopefully, Sean, yes, that's the answer, is that yes, we want it to be a better product all round in that respect. Like I'd say, the reporting is just, you know, there's no point in having all this data, as I say, that we have, but we're not data analysts, we're not data scientists, we don't know, you don't know what to do with this data because it's just blocked.
That's the frustration,
yeah.
Getting the right information.
It is.
To provide the dashboard for our business
Yeah.
that allows us to run KPIs for the different departments.
Yeah.
You know, and the different, you know, we are a big facility, so I do understand the challenges.
Yeah.
To me, the big shortfall in the past has always been, it's been great as a manager. The reporting's getting better now, and that's because you've been working, you know, it's good that we've got that two-way relationship. It's the prospect management.
I'll talk to you about that because it's interesting you saying that. I'd like to certainly hear about that a bit more. But that is, you know, thank you, Sean. $5 in the post, but no. It is all about that. It is all about improving that relationship. I mean, you know, with respect to my other colleagues with software, we're all.
I think I'll put my hand up. We've been in the industry for 30 odd years and been a club owner probably for about 25 of them. And every management system says, we can do it all.
Yeah.
We're all singing, all dancing. I'll tell you what, I've never had a management system yet that's give me 80%. And then you start looking around, but no one's better than the other. And it's nice to have an organisation that's willing to work with you and have a bit more open relationships. And that perspective.
Yeah, and this is not something that we're just going to say, you know, this is what it is. It will be talking, you know, it's too important to not get the ideas from, with respect to the smaller clubs, the larger clubs that will probably utilise it much more. I don't know. proof of the pudding's in the eating, but you know, as you said, Sean, we can go out and say, well, we do this, we do that. Which is why I didn't want to stand up here and say, this is what ClubWise does, because it's not the right platform to do that, and it's boring, it's old hat. This is a future, this is something we're in discussions already. There is a big gap. We haven't really done the full gap analysis, and it might actually be, do you know what, actually it's not that bad, because once we've got the integrations in place, we think, oh, great, it's all sucked up and da-da-dum. So I'm hoping against hope that it's going to be certainly a 2023 launch, and that's our vision. And then we'll see how it goes from there, as it were. Yeah. Yes, sir.
Those people love to use the word artificial intelligence.
Use the word?
Artificial intelligence.
Yeah.
When in no way is it artificial intelligence.
I know.
It's just very, very complex flow diagrams.
Yes.
That change your customers into different ways, which is fine and can completely work in this instance to an amazing extent, but isn't artificial intelligence.
No, no.
It's not learning.
No, no.
It's just getting 4 triggers or 10 triggers or 400 triggers and putting down that flow to the one that is right.
Yep.
So is this actually going to be artificial intelligence and actually it's going to actually learn, or is it just running through parameters?
No, it is learning. It is learning as well. I mean,
You're going to learn trends and
Yes.
you'll adapt
Yes.
or automate on the side.
Yeah. I mean, as I say, it's like, for me, it's like, bleh. But yes, is the answer. I mean, I'm only going because the company we're integrating with, they call themselves an artificial intelligence company, and I've seen their present. Yeah.
There's set parameters.
Yeah. No, no.
Box that, box you go there.
No, it is learning. It is learning. It is learning, and it's creating personas. It's creating avatars. It's creating that for these individual members based on what it's learned in the past, rather than just saying, oh, that's the box he goes into. It could be a very specific box that only that one member is in.
Okay. So then when a new prospect arrives, is it going to look at the prospects and the interactions that work best with them previously?
I think prospecting is probably going to be the harder element to really build on, because we, you know, if the guy phones you up and that's it, and wow, okay. So, but I think, again, if you ask the right questions of that prospect, say again.
You could, if you did a survey up front, couldn't you? Because
Exactly.
They want to lose weight.
Exactly. That's exactly what I was going to say. If your salesperson does the right job and says, what are your goals? What are your, you know, what times are you going to train? And all this sort of thing. All the questions that you go through as a salesperson, if you have a salesperson, so exactly as you were saying, then that creates that persona. And I guess to a certain extent, it would say, okay, well, it worked for this guy in the past for other similar things. I think with prospects, it's like that one snapshot. With members, it's learning as it goes along, because they're visiting your club, hopefully. They're buying stuff in the club. They're booking classes. The idea is that the member receives information before they know they're going to leave the club. I mean, I know that sounds stupid, but like I say, the 30-day, we miss you, it's probably too late. So you need to be interacting it much earlier. And if the member then says, sod off, you know, that gets added into the mix, and it learns from that. So it is, as I say, it's early days, early-ish days, and we're learning a lot. But that's yeah, exactly where we're going down the route. Anything more from anyone else? Grand. Thank you very much indeed for your time. Much appreciated. Thank you.